Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing Amtrak traps that people still fall for.
Yeah, we meet a lot of first-time riders on the train, and some of them are kind of shocked. They like to tell us their story of what things they've been, were how they expected it to be, and what things were wildly different. And the first one that they always say is how big or small the roomettes are. Because, I mean, look at this picture. Let's just put a picture up from the Amtrak website. This is a picture of how they're representing the roomette to be. And in order to get this picture, they must have duct taped the camera to the ceiling or put it in the air vent, put it on the widest angle possible, because this is not at all how big these roomettes are when you're actually in them.
Right. It looks like there's a ton of space. It's really hard to convey through picture or video how small they really are. And I mean, we've had several people. One person was like, way more claustrophobic than I am, and he was like, there's no way we could stay in that room. Like, we had to ask if there was an extra room on the train that we could trade with. And I mean, like, you know, he was kind of freaking out, which I totally sympathize with, but he was like, I just did not understand how small those roomettes were going to be. And you know, everybody is different. So, you know, for some people it's going to be a lot harder to be in a smaller space. Some people don't mind at all. It just depends, you know, on your preferences and, you know, what you like, what you don't like. So you do have to keep in mind that not only the roomettes, but all of the rooms really, because, you know, they all are a little bit different than the way that they are portrayed. Like, say, the family bedroom, for instance, right? The family bedroom is not this big, luxurious, spacious, giant room. It's actually much smaller than you think, for 4 people, especially if you're all trying to cram in there. Same thing with the bedrooms. We've talked about it before. The bedrooms, yeah, you get the extra space, but that bathroom and shower combo is super tiny, and can be a little bit of a challenge to use as well.
Yeah, so we do have videos on the channel giving a roomette tour where I'm up there. If you're on a Superliner, which is the ones going to the West Coast, and you're laying on your back, you're only going to have about that much space from you to the ceiling. So just think about that. Make sure there's someone that is okay with sleeping in a tight space, because it is going to be tight. There's no way you can sit up there, so that can be a problem for a lot of people. All right, the next trap of Amtrak's that people fall for is business class. Now this one's kind of funny because there are some nice business class options on Amtrak, but there are some options where they basically took a coach car and they changed the sign from coach to business, and they just give you free drinks. That's essentially it. So you're paying an upcharge for free drinks. You'd have to drink a lot of soda to get your money's worth out of that. And so I think the trap here is not knowing exactly which business class ticket you want to get. And you know, some of them are nice, and sometimes we do upgrade. So we have videos here and articles on our website about which ones you should actually pay the premium for. But don't just think because it says business class that you're getting some amazing new experience. Now again, on the website, they got pictures of these awesome business class seats. You may get on your train and it's just a regular coach seat.
Yeah, and I think that's really the most interesting part when we noticed that one day. We noticed that, you know, we were on a train that had business and obviously coach, and the seats were actually newer and nicer in the coach car than they were in the train car that was labeled business. And we were like, wait a minute, are we in the wrong one? And we looked around, we're like, no, this is the business car, but the nicer seats are in the coach car.
Yeah, but they did give us free drinks.
They did.
So, you know, if that's worth it to you, then that's something that you might do. But next trap that people fall for, and we hear this one all the time, and they say to us, well, we watched your video, and we went to your website, and then we booked a vacation, and they'll say it was kind of more expensive than you said it was going to be. It was quite expensive. It was like $8,000, $10,000, and then they come to say they used Amtrak Vacations which they thought was Amtrak, and those are two different things. So you can book your trip yourself through Amtrak at Amtrak.com, but they also have packages, and you can link to that from Amtrak Vacations, which is more of a full-service travel agency. And so they will book your train, your hotel, your car, put it all together in one package for you, but the price is going to be 3 to 4 times what you would pay booking it on your own. So on Amtrak, you can only book your train. You can also book a hotel individually through them, but you cannot book one of these ones that's like a package that goes all over the place and does all this and gets you all that stuff without paying a premium. So if you're able to book stuff on your own confidently, you're going to save a lot of money just booking directly on Amtrak. If you think the price is way higher than it should be, you may be on Amtrak Vacations. I do want to also point out that a lot of people use Amtrak Vacations because they can sometimes get hotel rooms near the national parks or get you a spot on a sold-out train. That might be a good reason to use it, but even then you're still paying 3 to 4 times what you normally would. So we would just say probably just pick a different date.
Yeah, and we do have on our website, groundedlifetravel.com, we do have on there on all the route guides, like depending on which train you're looking for, like say if you want to do the California Zephyr, just look for the California Zephyr on our website, and we do have hotel recommendations right on there of which ones we recommend. You could book them yourself right from the website.
Yeah, because there is also no difference between if you're on an Amtrak vacation or if you're just on an Amtrak ticket that you booked yourself. There's literally no difference. You're going to be sitting with the same people, same dinner, same room attendant. Everything will be exactly the same. Only difference will be the price that you paid to get on the train. So the next thing that people fall for is thinking that you'll get to your destination on time or that you'll be able to make your connecting train all the time.
Yeah, I think this is the one that really messes people up the most. There's nothing more stressful than knowing that you've got something that you have to get to. We had some people, some fellow passengers on one of our train rides that had a cruise that they were getting to. And they kept looking at the time, and we kept falling more and more behind on our arrival time. And they were really, really sweating it out. And they were so stressed the entire time. By the time we got, where were we going? Oh, we were on the Empire Builder, I think. By the time we got to Seattle, they were so frazzled and so stressed, and it was cutting it so close to the last minute that they could possibly get on the ship.
Yeah, it's just not a good idea. And the other problem that you have is you say, well, I booked 2 trains with Amtrak. They're responsible to get me to the other one, and that is true. But they're not responsible to get you there in any particular way. So if your train is going to be late, they may get you off of that train and put you on a bus to go meet your other train somewhere else, and you may skip part of the ride. All kinds of crazy things can happen if you rely on them to get you there or for that connection to be made. So what we say to do instead is if you're going to take an Amtrak train, just spend the night in your destination city, get up the next day, take a train out of there the next day. That way you can see the city. You don't have to worry about being late. None of your connections are going to get messed up, and they're not going to put you on a bus. Just spending that extra night in a city is going to take care of all those problems.
Yeah, it makes your trip a lot more enjoyable when you don't have to think about timing and the stress levels, of having to deal with late trains.
Next trap people fall for is paying for bad Metropolitan lounges. You can pay for access to a Metropolitan lounge, but they are not all the same. Now, there's really only 2 probably lounges we would pay for access to, and that is Chicago and New York. The rest of them I would just avoid if you're having to pay extra to get into those lounges.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you'll already have access to it if you have a sleeper car, and in like Washington D.C. you have access even with first class. But if you're going to pay for a Metropolitan Lounge because you don't have access to it, I would definitely stick to just those two bigger ones. There's more offerings, because really the other ones you're basically just paying to be waiting in a separate area than everybody else. Maybe have a couple of snacks, you know, chips and maybe some fresh fruit and a couple of drinks. But other than that, there's really not a lot to offer outside of those two big ones.
All right, the next trap is going to be travel insurance. And it's not that travel insurance is bad, but you can alleviate a lot of the problems that you have on Amtrak on your own. So we've taken a lot of Amtrak rides. We've never bought travel insurance. And part of the reason for that is because Amtrak is really good at one thing. And the thing that they're really good at is making things right once they've had kind of a big mess up. So there really isn't a need for travel insurance on Amtrak right now, because if your train is late by 12 hours and something goes terribly wrong, they've always given us money back on our trip. So it really has never, yeah, it's been kind of a disappointment, but we've never lost money really on an Amtrak trip because of a late train.
Yeah, and they've always, like, even when they've canceled trips before, we get either our money back right away or our points back right away, and we're able to use them towards something else or for something else. So that has always worked out really well. I think it is a really nice, you know, a very good bonus that Amtrak does take care of things. You know, if you have a ride where things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, you can always, you know, call them up and say, hey, I took this ride, I had these problems. And I will tell you, for us, 10 times out of 10, they have given us money back on a travel voucher to use for our next ride whenever I've called them up. So, you know, travel insurance is not really, you know, something that you want to get unless, you know, there's a possibility of some bigger thing happening. And even then, you've got to read the fine print, because a lot of these, you know, travel insurances don't cover a lot of things.
Yeah, travel insurance is not bad in some instances, but we have never bought it for Amtrak, and we probably never will. And I think we've saved a ton of money over the years, because I can't even think of a time when we would have used it. So that would have all just been money down the drain, and they took care of us anyway at the end of the day.
Yeah, so guys, hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you have questions for us, leave those down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and we'll see you guys next time.